You are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author, professional speaker, and member of the John Maxwell team, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we're bringing some fabulous humans from across the globe. Today is no different. Because my goodness, we've had so many interesting people on this podcast and so many more to come. Like today's guest, my goodness, a certified master hypnotherapist, y'all, NLP Master Practitioner, a Huna Practitioner, which is actually a first for the show, and Reconnective Healing Practitioner, who's effective at getting results and enhancing performance in people's lives. And she has a long scroll of a resume because she graduated from University of California, Berkeley, with a bachelor's in English and Spanish. And after obtaining a lifetime elementary teaching credential at Cal State LA, she taught third grade for 5 years in Puerto Rico and Los Angeles. And she even played the character Snow White at Disneyland and was a TV news reporter for KABC Channel 7 in Hollywood and worked on the staff of Senator Charles H. Percy, Illinois, in Washington, D.C. And she's been in movies and she's been all over the globe helping folks be the best versions of themselves. So let's give it up for Miss BF herself and probably your future BF, just like mine at this moment, Miss Belinda Farrell. How you doing today, ma'am?
Oh, I'm doing great. After that introduction, I just sorry. You're pretty good. Well, I think you know that, right?
That's what people tell me.
That's what they tell you. Well, thank you for having me on your show. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure indeed. Thanks for all your work. It's great to have a wonderful lady like yourself who's got so many things on her resume and heck, even being a Huna practitioner. Because funny enough, I actually first heard about it through Joe Vitale a few years ago, and
Oh yeah.
lo and behold, I got you now on the show. This is awesome.
Yeah, he wasn't too excited about Huna at the time. I know Dr. E. Heliakala Len that he wrote the book about, and but he didn't really, you know, talk a lot of good things about Huna, but I think he just didn't understand it because it's just the ancient healing ways that the Hawaiians did of healing themselves, the secrets. And we're exposing those secrets so that everyone can have a chance at healing themselves. Who wouldn't want to do that, right?
Oh, you can say that again, especially now in the US of A. My goodness.
Oh my gosh, I know. But his book was great. Dr. E. Heliakala Len talked about Ho'oponopono, which is a tremendous, I do it every day. It's a healing of the inside, clearing up things that are from the past that weigh people down. And he completely healed a psychotic ward in a hospital in Honolulu where people wouldn't even come to work. They were so afraid of being there. And just by doing the process of forgiveness, even to the walls, even to the chairs, even just every part of that building, they closed the hospital down because all the patients got well. It was like a miracle.
That's right. And he didn't even need to make any contact with them.
Nothing. All he had was their chart and I guess the number that coincided with their name. And he would go inside himself because the first thing you have to understand with Huna is that you take complete responsibility for everything that happens to you in your life. So he figured that if he was sent to this hospital for some way, he was responsible for these people's lives and for their symptoms. So he would go inside and he would heal the part of himself that was that person that he was looking at. And by doing that enough times, that person started healing and just started behaving in a way that was more appropriate for, being out in society. And that's what you do. You go inside and heal the part of you that you're seeing out into the world. And it changes the perspective of that person, that place, or that thing. You can put, anyway, I have a CD called Chant and Forgiveness that takes people through that forgiveness process. But it's something that you can do daily, and it only takes a couple minutes, and it's very effective.
That's right. And if I'm not mistaken, you're on a 25-year win streak with it, right?
Yes, I healed my back. There was something that I was trying to figure out what was causing my back to collapse and degeneration of the spine. The doctors told me I would never walk again unless I had surgery. But I had been a stunt car driver. I couldn't work any longer, so I was cut from my insurance, so I had no insurance. So there's no way I could have handled, an operation. And I had been studying the Huna for about 3 years, and I had done it with other people. I had shown other people how to heal, and this was my time to heal myself. Physician, heal thyself. And so I went inside and did the Ho'oponopono, and I mean, there are a lot of things that are mentioned in the book, but it's having a total belief that it was going to work. And I also had to find out what I had been saying to myself, because when you talk to yourself, your unconscious mind, which runs your body, listens and does exactly what you're saying. And then I realized I had been saying, I can't be supported. Well, if I say I can't be supported, or I am not able to stand up for myself and support myself, that is your spine, which is holding you up. So it definitely listened to me, and it collapsed. So then I had to change what I had been saying to myself, just like anybody would just change their thoughts and say, thank you for helping me stand up for myself. Thank you for regenerating. That was the key word that set my back on a different course, that it was regenerating. Thank you for holding me up. And I just said that over and over again. I could feel, it was like a computer going, just, support me. And it was doing that. It completely regenerated in about 3 days from doing all of the work that I was doing while on my back. And I went back to the doctors. They could hardly believe it. And I had an aligned spine. Even the scoliosis that I had been born with completely healed. And this is 20 some odd years now, and I'm still doing great. Yay!
Ah, yes, hooray indeed, hooray indeed. 2 decades plus of winning. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there. And it's so great. So how are you able to get to that state to be able to actually do the Huna, the whole Ho'oponopono, everything? Because I'm pretty sure, like yourself, even before we even started recording officially, mentioned how it requires faith.
Well, a lot of faith. I mean, I was just desperate. When you're desperate, you get very creative. I had no insurance, so I couldn't go to a hospital. I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand. My son had picked me up because I couldn't hold myself anymore. He put me in bed, and I knew that I had to do whatever I had learned about the Huna to heal myself. And I had to see if it was really going to work. So what better way to do it than on yourself? I had no other choice. So, I mean, maybe if you have several choices, you opt for the one that'll be the easiest. This didn't seem like it was easy, hard, or anything, but it was the only choice I had. And I understood the unconscious and what it does. And it was almost like a revelation when I first realized that I was saying so many negative things to myself that was absolutely destroying my spine. And when I realized that I can have, the opportunity to change that, and it's going to change the way my spine reacts to me, it was empowering, when you feel that you have at least some recourse to reconstruct whatever was destructed. So it worked. And I still, everybody has challenges. I'm certainly not free from physical challenges, but I tune in and I go inside and I still connect with the part of me that thinks it created that. So I have to take 100% responsibility for everything that happens to me in my life. And when I do that, I get results.
Nice. Nice. Because that's something that everybody wants is results. Definitely.
Results, that's right. But you have to be at cause rather than effect. So if you say you're at cause, then you have the power to change whatever you created. And there's not a lot of people that want to take the responsibility. It's easier to blame it on somebody else.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a 10 commandments of self-development in a way, to be able to take responsibility for your life and actions. That's kind of like one of the laws in self-development. And heck, even with this, it seems like that seems to be like a universal truth.
Right. Absolutely. It just was empowering. I know Dr. E. Hiliakala-Len, who healed all those patients in Hawaii. I mean, that was just awesome to me. And I've met him and just have a lot of respect for him. But again, it's cleaning yourself on the inside to expect the changes on the outside. And sometimes it takes a lot of times that you do it. Let's just say, you know, we have some challenges in our world today, and we see those challenges through our eyes. We can also be responsible for lessening the problems that are out there. What I tell people to do is to be up on a platform looking down on a stage. So it's like you're the movie director of your own film inside of you. And so you're putting down below you all of the things that you're saying negative things about. Maybe you have an issue with money, or maybe you blame your parents for certain things, or your doctor, or the politicians, or the government. Whatever it is, you put them down below you and make them very tiny, very tiny. And then you just breathe down on them and then say the words, I'm sorry, I love you, I forgive you, thank you. Just those 4 phrases. And then you take a cutting instrument and spin it around you so that all of those people and those ideas and items, they just float away. And in their place, it gets filled with a void that the Buddhists call a void. The Hawaiians call it the io. And you just start feeling lighter. You've forgiven yourself for the way you're looking at that person, that place, or that thing. And then it changes. You're bringing stuff up from the past and you're healing it. And you're then having an idea of staying in present time. People always talk about being in the present, but they can't be in the present if they're dragging the past with them. So when you do this process, you eliminate the past because you're eliminating the way you're looking at the past. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's kind of like the classic advice of just being here now in the moment.
Yeah. How do you do that?
I guess from perspective is really just being fully aware and just actually taking the time to really listen in, like this conversation, just being a active listener as opposed to, I guess, a passive person who's just like, yep, I got this whole list of questions here. I'm going to ask them exactly, no matter what they say. They could say, I love cacti, and then it's like, okay, so tell me about the time you was an actress. Just
Oh,
skipping the whole cactus sort of thing. So definitely not doing that.
well, I was an actress.
It's like, wait.
I know. We'll jump to that one. Okay, that's fine. No, it was fun being an actress. Are you really asking me that question?
Well, fun enough actually wasn't, but sure, let's go with it. Because what led to that anyway?
I have no idea. The cactus did. No, Acting is great therapy, and I really advise it if somebody wants to go through therapy and they have a chance to do an improv class, take the improv class, because you just find out so much stuff about yourself, and it just brings up all your inner life and inner problems and inner challenges. And it's, you get to play that out on the stage or on film, and it's awesome. It really is a wonderful class of life.
Uh,
Doing things, I think actors do things that scare them. When you do that, you push yourself, out of your comfort zone, and you're in a danger zone. Talk about danger zone. When you're in the moment in a scene, it's very scary, because you have to be in that moment. You have to give everything to that moment and be authentic, because the camera doesn't lie. So I enjoyed it.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I can tell because you still got the fun-loving spirit in you, and it's great.
I know. What's next? What's the next act?
Yeah, that's a darn good question. What is the next act? Because funny enough, you're actually the first lady I've had on this podcast who's actually a stunt car driver. I've like never
Oh
heard
my
of that.
gosh. Yeah, that was amazing. Well, as soon as I got divorced when I was 40, I was a good girl, the kind from Catholic school who just always did what she was told until I got expelled. And then finally I was released from Catholic school. But I was always just kind of trying to please people and, all of that kind of stuff. And then I turned 40, and I went to a seminar that featured Tony Robbins, the firewalker. And I mean, I just thought, how in the world can people walk on hot coals, 2000 degrees? Well, I soon learned. I did 18 firewalks. I was with Tony for 5 years, and it was the most amazing experience and learning that I'd ever had. And because of that, when you do the firewalk, it opens you up to say, well, what else in my life can I do that I've never done? And what came up for me was that I'd always wanted to drive a race car. And I thought, well, I can't do that. But Tony teaches you a mantra that says, if I can't, I must. And if I must, I will. So when I said I can't, I thought, oh God, I guess I must. So I've got to find out where I can go and learn how to drive a race car. So this was out in Sonoma, and I went to the Bob Bondurant School for High Performance Driving and enrolled in the 4-day Grand Prix road racing course. Only girl with the Porsche racing team. And as it turned out, I had some talent. And at the end of the course, they hired me to drive for Buick and Cadillac in New York. And my stunt driving days began. And sometimes you have to crash because you're told to crash. So I had to do all kinds of stuff, all kinds of stunts. Breaking through fog, breaking through all kinds of snow, mountains. Oh, it was fun. It was exciting. It was exhilarating, and I didn't die. That's the best thing, is when you're able to tell the story, you're still here to tell it.
Oh yeah, you could say that again, especially 18 firewalks. My goodness, like I've heard of people doing at least once, but 18 times, like that's got to be a record, right?
I don't know. I was married for 18 years, and I think it represented every year that I was married to this interesting person. It's very symbolic of the 18 years. But when you're with Tony Robbins, and he's always doing firewalks, and you're on the staff, you're going to do a firewalk. So I'm sure some people were there longer than I was, and they probably did a lot more firewalks. You just become one with the fire. That's what happens. We are vibrational, and we're made up of the elements of earth, air, fire, and water. And so you just build up your fire energy so you become like the fire. And that's why you don't burn. You have to not think of yourself as fire, or else you will smell charred, burning flesh. I burned once when I was walking. The 8th time, my son was walking behind me, and I was more focused on him, and I didn't feel good. And so when you're not in state, you will burn. And I had very, very bad blistered feet. But I survived. And that next summer, I went to Hawaii, to Maui, where we had this big training, and I did a 50-foot fire walk. I thought I'd never walk again on fire. I was just done with it. But then you get excited again and realize that if you have a good partner getting you, excited and building up that fire inside of you, then you'll walk successfully. And that's what happened. But I don't need to do it anymore. It's not on my agenda. Thank you very much.
I guess sticking to hopscotch now, right?
Yeah, hopscotch is great. Hopscotch is, yeah, it's fun. It's really fun and it's good. I like to jump rope. So I do jump rope. And so that fits right in with hopscotch.
Ah, beautiful indeed. So do you believe this wonderful Ho'oponopono is really what's keeping you youthful at the moment with all this vibrant energy that's emanating from you?
I think so. I think because I'm 75, and I think what ages people is when they're just tied down with so much remorse and sadness and anger. And when you do Ho'oponopono every day, you let it all go. It just doesn't stick. And so you stay in the present time and you feel joyful. I mean, I feel joyful and just happy every day. We have some challenging times now, so it's a little bit more challenging, but still there's fun things to do everywhere you look. I like to rollerblade too.
Oh, there you go. Just put everybody to shame. That's right.
No, I'm not saying I'm doing that, but I love to rollerblade, and I miss the Dolphins. The Dolphins recruited me in Hawaii because I couldn't swim, hated the water, and they came in my dreams and they started teaching me how to swim, so that I had this yearning to be out there with them. And that was an amazing experience. I did 20 years of taking groups of people out to meet the wild spinner dolphins in Hawaii. So that makes you just not just joyful, but just unconditionally loving whoever is around you. The dolphins are just unconditional loving beings.
Ah.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever swam with the dolphins or the whales?
Nah, I never have. It never really occurred to me to try to swim with the dolphins. I hear they're extra friendly, sometimes a little too friendly.
Well, yeah, I've had some experiences.
It's like, she's divorced. All right.
Well, they encourage you to get out and have fun. That's definitely what they encourage you to do. And they're very sexual beings. They're just fun loving, and when one dolphin wants to be in the lead, everybody follows. They don't question. It's just they go with the pod. And they teach us how to breathe. Oh my gosh. They have to come up for air every 7 minutes or they'll die.
Oh,
And
wow.
if we don't take that breath up to the top of our head, we die a spiritual death. Because most people, they stay in this anxiety and stress because they're breathing through the chest and through the mouth and doing panic breath, like fight or flight. And that just builds anxiety and, just stress. So you need to take a deep breath through the nose, like you're filling a glass of water up at the top of your head, and then exhale it out. And you can make a sound almost like a ha breath. Ha. And then that's your ha breathing. And if you do that all during the day, when you think about it, it's equivalent to meditating, without taking the time to say, oh, I forgot to meditate today, my 20 minutes. Well, don't give yourself that kind of pressure, just periodically during the day, just take that deep breath. Ah. Like when your hand touches the wheel of your car, just at different times, just program yourself to take that deep breath and you'll start to feel wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes, with a capital W indeed right there. And I'm so glad you said that because that's something that a lot of us need. Heck, even myself included, when I was doing Taekwondo years ago, it's because my instructor always told us, like, hey, we have to make sure we breathe properly, like through our nose, and
Right.
usually exhale through the mouth when doing certain maneuvers. And heck, even a few years down the road, after doing some part meditation and learning from other folks who meditate, it's such a rewarding experience, especially when you find out that you don't have to shave your head, put on an orange robe, do it for 20 minutes or 20 hours straight. You can actually do it for a few minutes
That's
and
exactly
still
right.
get the effects.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I'm such a fan of the Karate Kid, those movies. Do you remember those?
Ah, yes, that's right, Mr. Miyagi, the wax
Mr.
on, wax
Miyagi.
off.
Yes, that's right. Oh, I loved those. I only got to my orange belt when I was training to do Taekwondo. But I'm sure, did you get a black belt?
Funny enough, no, actually switched over to CrossFit after getting my blue belt in Taekwondo, so I got like halfway there.
Wow. Don't mess with you.
Yeah, but most folks usually don't. They end up just being bewildered after I tell them the tree joke, and they're like, "Oh God, what the heck?" And then they realize, "Oh, all right, I'm totally confused. What did I just do?"
That's right. They forgot what they were upset about.
Yeah,
Probably.
exactly.
That's very true. But the dolphins, they're like your higher self teacher, trainer. I mean, it's just amazing to observe them and to just be in their presence. It's something I will never forget. Been swimming,
Ah,
been swimming with them now for 25 years. This is the first year I probably won't be going to Hawaii,
oh,
but hopefully next year we get to go back again.
yeah.
And I'm not a great swimmer, but the ocean, especially in Hawaii, it's full of salt, so it holds you up. You don't realize it, but you just float like you're the best swimmer in the world.
Ah, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Get to feel the floating magic. Get to feel the floating magic. Well, definitely hope you get.
That's right.
Ah, yeah, not left either. That's what I'm talking about. Ah, yes, indeed. So, as with all magical interviews, this is far from your first rodeo. So, is there a question you wish you'd be asked more often when you're having conversations like this?
My first rodeo. I couldn't ride a rodeo horse if I could.
Well, maybe not now, but maybe back then.
Back then, I don't know. I think you have to have a special body that adheres to the horse. No, that looks really, really tough. A special question that I wish you had asked. Oh my gosh. I feel like I've been asked so many questions. What would I just want people to feel joy and to know how to obtain it. It's really not that difficult, but it does take, I guess, a desire to want to feel lighter. I mean, I thought I had it all figured out, and then I lost my son to suicide. And that happened was about 12 years ago. And I thought I'd never get my joy back. Grief is it just eats you up inside. And I tried everything. I did the Ho'oponopono. It was just very difficult. My daughter had a little boy, and that's what saved me, was being able to take care of this little boy and see the joy in that child. Finally, my joy did come back, and I don't ever want to lose it again. But losing a child is probably the worst thing that can happen to you.
Yeah, sorry for your loss. It's definitely been a tough road.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're humans, so we have all these emotions that we are privileged really to express. We have the joy, the happiness, the sadness, the sorrow, the anger. I think the aliens come down to observe us because I don't think they have such emotions. They kind of curious about how does that work? How do you cry like you do, and show such great vitality and expression? And I think that's why they come here, is to observe us and all our emotions. So I try to be authentic with what I'm feeling and not try to hide it or stuff it, because if you do that, it comes back to bite you. And if you're feeling angry, you need to express that anger and not turn it into, anger toward yourself. Again, it's just, forgiving yourself for the way that you're feeling and allowing yourself to feel so that you can let it go. I think that's the biggest gift I'd like to give to people, is to know that if they forgive themselves, they are forgiven.
You could say that again, because we tend to be our own worst enemies a lot of times and tend to beat ourselves up. But sounds like you're able to help folks find their freaking joy, as your book title says, and actually get past that in a way.
Right. Guilt is the worst. When you feel guilty about something, the unconscious mind, which is listening to everything you say, feels that, oh dear, I've done something wrong, so I better invent a disease to give to her so that she'll know that she's done something wrong. But it doesn't mean that that's true. It's just a horrible invention from your mind, from the part of your mind that's trying to kill the body, the ego. So guilt is something that totally needs to be eradicated. How do you not feel guilty about something?
Mm.
Have you ever felt guilty about something you've done?
Oh yeah, having candy before dinner as a kid, yeah, definitely. Like,
That's great. And so then you just had the opposite. You had your dessert first, and then you had your dinner.
yeah, and
But nobody knew that.
yep, yep. 'Cause,
So what happened to you as a result?
the plate was a little more full.
And you got in trouble? Did they know that you had eaten the candy bar?
Nope, until they hear this interview. But they won't know which day it was. Let me stop.
Well, the jig's up. Sorry. Oh, that's funny. Well, see, that's what you would do. You'd put your parents down below you, and you'd offer the forgiveness to yourself. I'm sorry. I love you. I forgive you. You're saying that to yourself. Thank you. And it's done. You cut the cords, and you are forgiven, and you feel better, and all is well with the world.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about right there. So these magical chords, I'm pretty sure folks have to pick up the book to find out more, but the chords, are these visible in terms of like, do you see them or do you have to pull actual chords from somewhere else?
They're spoken of in the Bible. They're spoken of. They're the webs we weave around ourselves. As soon as you have a thought that connects you to a thing or a person, those are the chords. So they can be invisible, but they can add up, because if you have that thought over and over and over again, it builds up so that you could feel like a mummy all dressed up in cords or the inside of a golf ball. So yes, they just accumulate and they tie you down, and they affect the organs of your body. Your body is working now based on the blueprint that it has. But once you start to lessen the cords and reduce them so that things become more neutral, your organs start to breathe again. They start to heal. And you're in a much better place. If you have no connection at all to something, like, let's say you're walking down the street with, a friend, and he says, God, I gotta have that car. I gotta have that car. He starts courting himself because he wants that car. It's so emotional. You could care less about it. You don't have the same connection that he has. It all depends on your emotional attachment that you have to things. That's what chords. And then you can come in with the chords from your ancestors, things that you have to let go of in this lifetime that you're connected with. And your unconscious can do that when you're doing the Ho'oponopono process to make right right. So it's up to you. Do you feel light or do you feel heavy?
Spiritually, sure, definitely lighter. Physically, still working on the whole COVID-19 in the pounds category.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Oh, that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Trying not to eat. I know my daughter has learned how to make all kinds of bread and muffins and, oh gosh. Yeah. But I get outside and I take long walks, and you just try to do the best you can. You're not your body, you're the stuff inside that body. So you can let that go of your body image. Can't you?
Oh, I will. Oh, I will indeed. The six pack will appear from the skin material.
That's right. Well, it kind of houses you in a very comfortable place, right?
Oh yeah, especially since I call myself chocolate every now and then.
Oh, that's my weakness, but we're not going 12 hours, so I'll get mine in a little bit, right?
Okay, maybe 6 hours.
Oh, that's too funny.
Sweet. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Just love all of the wonderful joy that you carry with yourself and that you keep manifesting, keeping at a high level with all the setbacks that you overcome. So, with all of your magical experience, what's probably one of the major keys to having sustainable joy?
Sustainable joy. Joy for no reason at all is just being grateful that you're even alive to breathe. I mean, that's what I put up at the top, that I'm still here, I'm still breathing. That gives me great joy. You have to kind of create rules for yourself that you can win at. I remember I remember Tony Robbins telling the story. He was at a CEO meeting, and there were all these very successful corporation people in the audience. They were all making lots of money. And he was asking the question, how many of you feel successful? Well, he's in a room with all these successful businessmen, but only a couple of people raised their hands. And this one guy was in the back and he was going crazy, pick me, pick me, pick me. And so Tony said, what makes you think that you're successful? And he said, just without any candor, he said, every day above ground is a great day. He had been in Vietnam. He had seen his compadres, in body bags, and he came back alive. And he was grateful every day. He'd wake up, he was above ground. That was a great day. That was his success. Even though he was successful financially, being successful alive was the way he judged himself being successful. I never forgot that.
Definitely. And no one should, especially seeing that, because every day is basically a bonus day after seeing that.
Yeah, that is so true. So I just don't take anything for granted and keep breathing, keep being grateful, and keep expecting miracles. You're a miracle.
Well, thank you.
You are. I'm sure you've had challenges in your life that you have overcome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And more to come.
Oh, yeah. That's right. It's going to be one heck of a story, too. Definitely going to put it to paper. Who knows if it makes it to print, but who knows? It'll
Oh, yeah.
definitely happen because we're all human and it's meant to happen.
That's right. People learn from one another. And I really think there are no accidents. They say that people come into your life for that reason and you don't know why. But the one that's the most thorn in your side is your real soul partner. If you can heal with all these people, you've definitely done your job here on this planet.
Nice.
So I'm not sure how many more people I'm going to butt heads with, but bring them on.
Well, let's just hope it's maybe 1 or 0.
1 or 0. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, and speaking of being a miracle and butting heads with people and life experience, what advice would you give to yourself if you were 25 in the current year of 2020 with all of your amassed knowledge and experience?
Oh my gosh. Find a really good therapist, somebody that you can talk to. We really do need to still not just hanker down, but we need to talk to one another and, not hide. I mean, we really got to be outside, enjoying nature. It's a very challenging time. I'm certainly, I grew up in the 50s and 60s, and I just cannot fathom how we got here so quickly and how it's just such a world of, internet connections and people texting one another, and there's not enough real physical touching of one another. And I don't know, that bothers me because I think people really need to have that physical connection. So that's my only, I love telecommunications, I love the computer, but I enjoy being with people and socializing 100% more. And that's the one thing that I miss during this particularly challenging time, is the social communication.
Yeah, you can say that again.
So if you can socially communicate, that would be my advice, because I think that's the way you stay a little bit more healthy. You don't feel you're so much alone. And people feel alone after they've been texting for so long. It's just not the same as being together with somebody.
That's right. That's right. Indeed.
So I don't know if it's going to just get worse or better, or I don't know what the answer is going to be. Maybe a healthy combination of both. It's always about balance.
Yeah. Even if the scale's on one side.
That good old balance. Those darn scales. They're always lying to us, aren't they? What do they know?
Yep, someone's got their thumb on it somewhere.
I think so. I think we ought to throw them all away. I have thrown a lot of scales away in my past, thinking I'll never step on a scale again. And then I always succumbed going back to it. It was from the modeling days where you had to be a certain body image. It was tough.
Well, it's a good thing folks have been getting away from that certain body type in today's society.
I think they have. I really do think they have. I don't notice it as much anymore. But then, of course, we're not in Hollywood, are we?
To be honest, thank God, yes.
I know. I know.
I'm good.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I was born there, though, so I lived a lot of my life in Hollywood. Hollywood. Da, 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 Hollywood.
Ooh, classic.
One door closes and another opens. Another window opens. So sometimes you get out of the relationship, or you get out of the job that you couldn't do before, and you start something brand new that you never thought you would be involved with, and it's good and it makes you happy because you need to be fulfilled. How do you know when something fulfills you? It feels good. And then you just start doing more of it, and then you just start feeling good all the time. And stop feeling guilty to feel good, because you deserve it. You deserve to feel wonderful all the time.
There we go. There we go. Stop feeling guilty and start feeling good.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So that means if you want to have that chocolate, you get to feel good about it. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right, indeed.
You know, when you feel good inside your body, you're making a drug called interleukin 2. And this drug is sold to cancer patients for like $20,000 for a treatment. And you make it when you're excited and exhilarated about something. Let's say you're just really happy about something. You're making interleukin 2, millions of dollars worth of interleukin 2. Your body is a laboratory, and it can create Valium when you do meditation. So just begin to think about your body and how enriched it is, and how you have control over it by the thoughts that you feed it.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Heck, that's a new one.
Is that a new one?
Gotta love. Oh, it's a new one for me, definitely.
I heard that from Deepak Chopra, whom I just really respect. He's a medical doctor, and he used to come to some of Tony Robbins' programs. And he's the one that spoke about interleukin 2. I never forgot it.
Quantum healing goodness. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's right. Quantum healing. Molecular biology And you are what you think you are. And the other person I love so much is Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton. He was a trainer of physicians, and he talks about the biology of belief. So sometimes you think you're born a certain way. You can still get out of that by retraining yourself. Has to do with what we believe. We teach ourselves, and we talk to ourselves in certain ways, and that can change the whole dynamics of our molecular structure. Just like I healed my back, you can heal something also that's very challenging in your life.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's right, folks. If Belinda can do it, you can do it too, my friends. You can do it too.
That's right. That's right. It's not really, it just takes a belief and cutting cords and seeing yourself doing it. As a stunt driver, I would sometimes be faced with projects that I had never done before, but in my mind's eye, I had to create seeing it being done successfully, or else I never would have even attempted to do it. And I think athletes do the same thing. They see the basket, the ball going in the basket. They see the ball going in the hole. You have to see it ahead of time so that you'll catch up and you'll believe it. So I would see myself climbing trees when I was doing my healing. And I would see myself just climbing these trees like a little monkey. And you have to have a good, strong back in order to climb trees. So the unconscious mind got excited to see me climbing trees, and he sent that up to the higher self. And that's what got broken down into my physical body. The higher self made that possible. So you have to see yourself actually, if you want to be thin, you got to see yourself being thin, or see yourself with whatever it is that convinces you that you have that desire. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. And folks probably need that reinforced a lot more than ever. Kind of like the whole motivation thing that Zig Ziglar would always say. It's like, hey, why do people go to all these motivational seminars? It's kind of like bathing. You got to do it daily. So just need reminders of that.
That's right. I remember Zig Ziglar. He was the man at one time.
Yes, indeed. Probably he's definitely in my top five. Definitely my top five. Look, yeah, it was a shame what happened to him. My man in 2012 lost his life like that. That dementia. Oh my goodness, that takes a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I go through a process called chelation, where they take out heavy metals from your body, and hopefully, knock on wood, that's going to help in the long run fight against stuff like that.
Yes, indeed. And like even staying hydrated too, probably.
That's right, drinking lots of water. Who knows? Who knows? We're here for a short time to do whatever healing work we're assigned to do, or have fun, and then we go to the next step, the next chamber on our path to more fun, hopefully.
That's right. Just got to imagine whatever. Oh, sorry, good.
No, I think it'll be fun in the next chapter. I'm counting on it anyway.
There you go, in chapter 76 and beyond.
And beyond. To the moon and beyond that. Never, never land.
That's right. The whole galaxy, maybe.
Well, what was it Peter Pan said? I have a place where dreams are born and time is never planned. It's not on any chart. You must find it with your heart. Never, never, never land. It might be miles beyond the moon or right there where you stand. Just keep an open mind and then suddenly you'll find never, never land. 'Cause you'll have a treasure if you stay there, far more precious than gold. For once you have found your way there, you can never, never grow old. And that's my place where dreams are born and time is never planned. Just think of lovely things and your heart will fly on wings. Together forever in never, never land. Ta-da! I don't know what made me think of that now, but there it is. Can't grow old if you think of Neverland.
I love you.
Aw, well, thank you. I love you too. Then love is all there is. So you tapped into the universal love. That's true. We are all in here together and we all love one another. Wouldn't that be a wonderful world?
Oh, yes, it will. Oh, yes, it will. Just gotta get rid of the some of the traps they set
Yeah.
out for us.
Oh, that's a very democratic or whatever way to put it.
Yeah, because I couldn't think of any way else to put it, so that's what I'm going with.
I know. We have challenges, that is for sure. But we can meet those challenges right on. And that's what we're doing. Just make the best of everything and not get locked into one way or another, because they always say, do you want to be happy or you want to be right? So I always choose, I want to be happy. So you have to let go of your way of seeing things because you think it's right. You've got to accept my way of seeing things. Pooey. I don't know all the answers. I don't know any answers, but you've just got to find what's right for you. What makes you happy? What makes you happy and fulfilled? And when you get there, it's a beautiful place. It's where, isn't that where Kermit the Frog says about the rainbow? When he talks about rainbows. Anyway, I like Kermit. Getting me to think of all these cartoon characters. What is wrong with us?
So for those who want to keep in magical contact with the magical BF herself, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you?
Well, my website is Huna Healing, Huna healing.com. And that has my email address and phone number. That'd be the best way. They can get my book on Amazon, Find Your Friggin' Joy, or online, and the CDs are on iTunes, or they're on my website.
Sweet. Well, there you have it, folks.
Sweet.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. Going out there. Go to Belinda's magical site. Find your joy. Find your freaking joy. Grab the CD, or I can even go on iTunes and grab it too. Put on your magical device and enjoy life. And I can even keep up with all that Belinda's doing because she is still alive and well and putting out great content and helping folks to be an example of what it is to find your freaking joy and keep it. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, any parting words for the folks still listening, Belinda?
Mahalo for having me. Thank you so much. And my heart is open and my heart is full. And I just love you and want just the best for everyone. Mahalo and aloha.
Hey there, buddy. Looks like you made it to the end of this episode. Since you made it to the end of this episode, do both of us a favor and stop being greedy. Stop it right now and share this episode with your friends and your fellow podcast lovers, especially those who have book clubs and want to listen to the authors who write some amazing books.